Sherdog.com here with one half of the main event of Bellator 170. Chael Sonnen takes on former UFC light heavyweight champion Tito Ortiz. Chael, the press is starting to wind down here. The fight's actually just a few days away. What has this process been like? I mean, things have changed quite a bit since your last fight. You have a very successful podcast. You're promoting submission events and just being the gangster that you are, that you've marketed yourself into be. What's it like this time around getting into this fight?
I don't know, man. If there's anything I hate, it's a day off. I like to stay busy, and I've never missed a practice for anything else that I'm doing. I've never, ever missed a practice. So, I'm ready to go. It's a good opportunity, and it's been a long process. I sat through a suspension and ran that clock out and got my license, and I'm back. And I can tell you, I'm sore. I'm tired. I'm recovering. I've got a couple of days to do that. I've got about 11 pounds to get off. So, yeah, I think after we finish up, I'll focus on that.
What was the camp like? Tito was critical, saying that 7 weeks ago you were out of shape. How long has this camp actually been from beginning to end?
So I don't like do a camp, but I pick up the intensity of my workouts. I go to practice every day, and as the fight gets closer, I start going in twice a day. And we set X amount of time aside, and whether I'm tired or not, I'll push through. I won't take a water break or, you up the intensity a little bit. But that's really it for me. I'm in practice every day, and I never think that I got out of shape, but I'm definitely in better shape than I was 7 weeks ago.
Talking about the physical side of things, Tito is a natural light heavyweight. He's fought there his entire career. You moved up and down. You're going to be the smaller of the two fighters on Saturday. That's not news, but what do you expect Tito to bring strength-wise? Do you feel that he'll enjoy a significant strength advantage?
Well, I wrestled Tito one time, and it was 20 years ago, and the main takeaway that I still remember from that match was his strength. Particularly if he gets underhooks, he's also a tall guy, so he's got some physical things to deal with. But for the most part, it's a size disadvantage. It always has been. Some guy's kid got his ass kicked on the playground. We had to tell his buddies the next day at work. He justified his wimpy son by saying the kid was bigger. The size has never helped anybody. Muhammad Ali was 202 pounds when he was the heavyweight champion. Mike Tyson was 220 pounds when he was the heavyweight champion. Stipe Miocic is not even 240 pounds and is the reigning heavyweight champion. So that size stuff doesn't really play into effect, except for certain positions. There are certain positions where that can help, but it's my job to avoid those.
Where does this fight take place? I mean, obviously you're both cut from the wrestling cloth, but is this a fight where he tries to take you down, you try to stand? What do you expect to see over the course of the main event?
Yeah, he'll definitely try to take me down, and I'm going to try to beat him to it. I'm going to come right across that ring, and I'm going to blast him. I'm going to find out right away, is this going to work or not? And that is the strategy.
Looking at this fight, I mean, the war of words, it's been intriguing to say the least. Smashed juice boxes, reports of repo tickets and whatnot. Does this fight have potential to maybe be somewhat lackluster if you control him or he controls you? Could this be maybe a letdown compared to the war of words?
I think that's always a letdown if somebody is just looking for control and isn't looking to finish. So I don't know that I would disagree with that. I think that it's probably pretty unlikely. I'm in very good shape. He says that he is. And those fights that you see like that, you got two guys that are out of shape and shouldn't be in there anyway. So I wouldn't see that happening. But to your point, yes, if somebody just holds the other one, that would be a little dull.
This is an emotional fight for Tito for a few reasons. One, you may or may not have gotten under his skin and lit a fire underneath him, but he's also said that this is, in fact, his last fight. Do you feel that Tito will be mentally ready, or do you think that his emotions may get the best of him when the ref finally says go?
I've seen that go both ways, and guys need to do with their approach what's best for them. And you can't have anybody else sit back and judge your approach. And I've heard people say that that'll be an extra motivator for him. Well, who knows? He's never done it before. And some people say it'll be a demotivator. He's got 1 foot out the door. I've seen it go both ways. My former coach and teammate Mark Munoz had his final fight, announced it ahead of time, and it added motivation. He went out and performed better than he'd performed in a good period of time. So I've seen it go both ways, and whatever his approach is, I got to leave that to him, but I will also be ready.
You've had a variety of different roles since your suspension. You've found a nice niche in the podcast world. You're still a promoter even when you're not promoting yourself. You're an analyst as well. What is the motivation for this fight and motivation going forward? I mean, is this one fight at a time, or do you feel that you'll have a run here at Bellator?
Yeah, no, I'm going to make a run, definitely. I'm not even focused on Tito. That's not my approach. I don't like to do that. I'm a tournament guy. I'm always looking ahead. I'm trying to guess and plan who's next. So I got my eye on Wanderlei Silva, and that'll be coming up later this year, early summer. And as far as motivation for the fight, I like to compete, and it didn't really matter who it was against. I wanted to go out there and go through the process and make the weight and do the media and step out and compete. So whoever the opponent wasn't part of the deal, but it ended up being Tito.
You have a interesting past, we'll say, with testosterone and things of that nature. When I asked you when this was announced, what would you say to those detractors? You said, tell them I have a higher juice concentrate than Tropicana. I think people are going to be looking to see your drug test results following this fight. What do you say to them pre-fight? I mean, are you a clean fighter coming into this, and will you be clean going forward?
I would tell them there's not a man that can beat me, and there's not a test that can catch me.
Chael Sonnen, you have a prediction for Saturday?
The bad guy wins.